Hello and welcome to Quarterly Book Club. Why quarterly? Because you're busy and books are long. My name's Samantha and we are in a new shooting location with a new couch. And I love this couch. It makes me want to be super just dramatic in all things. Like, we read a book and it was called Looking for Alaska by John Green. Green is the color of this awesome couch. So it just, I just want to be super like, oh. Anyway. So stick around and listen to what my guests and I had to say about this book. And that's going to be Jimmy Jerome Wetzel, who's the owner of It's All Been Done Presents. And we are part of that wonderful network of podcasts, written work, videos, and more. And then Nathan Haley, who's been here a few times. You'll see him probably a few more. He enjoys reading, enjoys being here, and I like having him here, even though he's kind of a butthead. But he'll never watch this, so that's okay. Anyway, so stick around. I'm going to be dramatic on my couch and see what we have to say about John Green's Looking for Alaska. Lights on, but you can't see it on your side, can you?
No.
Nope, it's over here.
Jimmy can see it.
I can see it.
So, hello and welcome to the Quarterly Book Club. I, of course, am Samantha. To my left is...
Me.
And then the other side.
This guy.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
So me and this guy are
Nathan.
here to talk about a book that we all read, and this is Jimmy.
Also known as Jerome Wetzel, the head of the
Yes.
network.
Jimmy Jerome,
You have to plug
JJ,
that.
I have to
JJ,
plug the
JJ
network.
Dubs.
Little diva has to get his little bromin in there.
No, I just have to plug the network. It's all been
Broman?
presents.
I know, I got to plug mine. You see what I did?
I see what you did there.
Nathan and I have known each other 30 years, can you tell?
Not at all. It's like you just met today.
Nathan? Was that your name, Nathan?
It's always been.
Okay. I thought it was Eugene.
It's always been done. Oh, that's his middle name, and he hates it, so it's really funny.
My dad-
All right,
That's
so
what it is,
the book.
The book!
The book that we read is Looking for Alaska by John Green. I have read a John Green book before. You have
I
as
read
well?
one right before this.
Okay, I finished this book this morning.
I finished it 2 days ago. But last week I read Turtles All the Way Down.
How was that one? That's his newest one.
I liked it.
I've heard great things about it.
It's more polished than this one, but part of the rawness is part of the draw of this one, I think.
Yeah, and this is
So-
one of his early ones.
This was his first. This was his debut
It's very
novel.
funny to tell me that. I didn't realize that when I
I
picked
didn't either.
it.
I thought this was newer for some reason.
Have you ever read anything by John Green?
No. Not that I know
The
of.
Fault in Our Stars.
Hell no.
Did you see the movie?
No.
Okay, I did see that movie. but-
I read A Fault in Our Stars.
People who read
I
and watch
did-
that crap are probably the same people who like Steel Magnolias.
You love Steel
Isn't that your
Magnolias.
favorite movie?
That's one of my favorites.
Me too.
No, I
It's a
haven't.
great
I haven't.
movie.
And the other one is Fried Green Tomatoes, right?
Oh, I love Fried Green.
And League of Their Own.
Oh, I love that movie. Let's just watch movies, and
I
then
love
we'll just film the
quarterly
reaction.
So we
movies
read-
in between the quarterly books.
So we read this book.
We did. Okay. So I have a habit of the reason I finished it this morning is because I have a habit of bouncing around between books. I read multiple
Procrastination.
books at a time.
Me too.
That too, but you know.
You're good.
And I overestimated or underestimated how much time was left and how much book I had left. And I was like, oh crap, because I'm not the world's fastest reader. And so I was just like, oh gosh, I gotta finish it. And then my younger dog, which you're gonna hear her whine, sorry about that. They're being really dramatic. They're in a nice, cool room with a bed, and they're, you know, my older one will be napping. The younger one's just gonna be up there crying. So
It's probably
but-
because he finished this book. And
she would not let me just read the book. She kept nosing herself, and she's 55-pound bull terrier, so she's just like, hey, attention, and I'm like, just
It's
need
hard
to
to take that
read.
seriously when I have a 200-pound mastiff.
It's but
Your dog's an appetizer.
yeah, pretty much. But I've always had big dogs until these two, so. But yeah, she's insistent in her attention. So, first impressions, what did you think? Jimmy Jerome, Jimmy Jams?
I actually kind of felt let down at the end when I finished reading it, but having had a couple days to think about it, I really liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think discussion will help as well? Sometimes,
I think I was just I feel like I'm going to get ahead of myself, so I'll put a pin in that. But yeah, I thinking of it today, I think I really enjoyed it.
Cool. What about you? How'd you feel?
About before I read it?
Well,
What do you
I
mean,
mean,
like in?
as you were reading it, did you like it? Were you drawn to any of it? How'd you feel?
The first thing I did was I tried to make sure that I didn't know anything about it, just to see like, okay, what kind of, because I always am intrigued by a title.
Yeah.
Like the Badass Librarians of Timbuktu.
Yeah.
Like, be like, oh my God.
Yeah, that
but like,
that title is
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, that title is great.
The book.
But with this, I'm thinking there are obviously two things it's going to be. A girl is lost, or something has happened in the country. And I'm like, well, this is we're reading about, teenage drama. So I'm like, it's probably going to be about a girl, and there's two things. There, she has ran away or she is dead. So
Those are your only options
yeah,
with young adult.
With me, it wasn't
Just kidding.
really, like, there was nothing really suspenseful. And then I don't know if, oh my goodness.
Bless you. I have tissues around here. Bless you. Oh, shoot.
I'm so sorry, Ryan, because our person behind who may or may not want his name said.
The producer. He's the producer.
Because I kind of, okay, anyway. I don't know if the chapters are set up in the same way, but when you're listening to it, he would always say like 128 days before,
Yes.
124
Yep.
days before. So I don't know if those are,
Yep.
are those, okay.
And it's
Those
broken
weren't
down the
chapter
same
breaks,
way.
they happen mid-chapters too.
Does it happen in chapter? Okay.
Yeah. And
I
at the
never really
beginning of
thought about it.
chapters.
There's no real
Okay, you
chapter.
asked me a question,
I
so
did.
I am talking. This is my moment. This is my
It's your moment.
This
Shine.
This is my brother.
Shine, baby, shine.
Yeah, there really are no chapters. I didn't know
Oh
this.
my God! Sorry for the volume spike. Now I'm
No, I
lost.
did that on purpose.
Crap! I'm lost. Oh, so I would say maybe two or three minutes into the audiobook, I already knew that she was dying. Like
Yeah.
there was no ifs, ands, because you don't say. I think the one thing that got me the most was because I think when listening to it, there was probably an hour and a half, 2 hours left when it said like I think it says like that day or day of, and I'm sitting there like, well, if there's 2 hours left, maybe she isn't going to die this day. Maybe she gets in an accident and it leads to the death. So I will say that I was surprised just based off of where it was in the book when Alaska died. That surprised me, but other than that, the only thing that surprised me at all was Takumi at the end. I feel like there was going to be one little twist, but I couldn't predict who it was going to be. Like when, did we get into that or did I stop? Should I stop or just keep going?
But we're going to get into all of it anyway.
Okay. So like when Takumi talks about how he also, he's had the guilt. He also let her go. His love for her and all that. But like Lara and Takumi were so useless in the book. Like I was not, not useless, but like as far as like, is anybody
They were left out.
Is anybody going to really remember them? No. Like they were basically just used if, John needed a little filler here, he's going to add in Takumi or Laura. Other than that, there is no purpose for them really. But I thought that was an interesting twist at the end. That also threw me, but that was about it.
Cool. Yep. I was, young adult has its hits or misses. Like I said, last quarter
Penis.
with Point
Vagina.
Claw, which is right there. It was not your typical YA, and that's, I really enjoyed that aspect of
YA?
it. Young adult.
Ah! Don't you do that. I saw that. You didn't see
Friends
James.
for 30 years, people.
Frenemies for 30 years. He hates me.
They're besties.
Try not to curse. You were saying.
You've already
Sorry.
cursed. Oh, no, that was before we were rolling.
Yeah.
Ha. So you got it out of your
I got
system.
sort of. We'll see. Go
It
ahead.
never really works out. I don't remember what I was talking about. I don't know. It's a book, and oh no.
YA.
You're talking about Point Club.
YA.
So this was more your typical young adult book.
I would say
You know, there's definitely like, oh, a girl, and I was listening to a podcast called What Should I Read Next, and there's a guest on it that was describing YA books, and he described it as like high gloss, and it's all the stakes. And I was like, that's exactly kind of what this fell into. It was very high gloss, like you're watching like you're watching a novella on television. You know how they're super bright color, and it's just like and then everything is all the stakes. It's all or nothing. And so I was kind of like, okay, got to get through that part, but. There were moments that were sort of face-palmy, but not because I didn't like it. It was face-palmy because I was remembering myself as a teenager going, oh, I did that too.
If you were like Alaska, that would explain a lot.
Excuse me.
Just
So
based off of fact. I'm
I
sorry.
wouldn't say I was.
What fact?
I wouldn't say I was like Miles, but I certainly had very similar feelings as Miles did towards Alaska to other girls growing up. And so I
But
identified.
Miles liked girls. That would be a big difference between you and I was like, a huge like the biggest difference in the book.
So I very much identified with Miles,
did
even
not.
though like I wasn't skinny and I wasn't like
Popular. Well, no, he
wouldn't have
wasn't
smoked
popular.
even if it was
Yeah.
gonna make me popular, and there was
All
no
this-
Laura
all-
for me to make out with.
All the smoking.
Yeah.
A lot of smoking.
All the
Smoking.
smoking.
And, the smoking and the drinking. Like even
So much smoking.
like
Yeah, I didn't
what-
smoke or drink in high school. I
Neither
still
did I.
smoke,
Like even
but-
though this is
No, I don't
even
either.
though this is 2005, 2006 when this is all happening, like I graduated in 01 but even though I never drank or smoked in high school, but like I never heard of kids like getting drunk and then like 5 hours later getting drunk and then like 8 hours later getting drunk again. Like there's that part in the book. No, I mean I understand, but like
No,
to
I'm
me,
saying
like, is he,
my high school experience was very different. I didn't do any of that, but I grew up in like a town with like $1 million homes. We certainly did not have those, but I did not grow up in a $1 million home. But there were kids that I went to school with that did, and
The weekend warrior.
Yeah.
yes. So I identify with that. Going, okay, I know those kids. Like parents
didn't
who
really
parents
have
who
that.
buy their kids a
No, we didn't have
BMW, and then he drove it drunk, wrapped it around a pole, and his parents bought him another one. Those are some of the kids I went to school with. So I really identified with the dislike of those kinds of kids. It doesn't mean that they grow up to be bad people.
Some
but
of them do.
Some do, yes, but it's not a blanket
No.
statement.
Other than like the 16-inch height difference, if I had to relate to anyone, I guess it would be a cross between Miles and the Colonel.
I thought you were more
Miles
of
and
a
Chip.
Kimmy.
Well, that's what I can't figure. Well, no, I can't. I mean, hell, maybe I'd be more like Alaska. I was more spontaneous. I don't know. Like there wasn't really a character that I could say like I was this character. I thought like this. I mean, maybe I was a hybrid, but there wasn't one that I could really identify with. So, because
Yeah.
none of them played any sports. Takumi rapped, but other than that, there was like no music in it.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
true.
like, who do I?
Well, if Nathan can't relate to a character, he's done with the book. So
He's
I
like,
listen to it.
I was gonna throw it, but I'm not
Dick.
gonna do that. I mean, when it comes to other aspects of like Alaska's personality, I can see some of that myself. I was always very impulsive.
The guy that does her
Still
voice
am.
on the, it's like, well, Pudge, here's what you gotta do. It's just so fun. Like, I'm just not ready. Or I like you. I like lying on you. I gotta go. I can't believe I forgot. Oh no! It's just really fun. You start thinking of the Grease. Yeah, you start thinking of a crossover between the Grease Up Deaf guy and the guy's like, I know.
Like children all stuck in my web.
You just.
Family
well,
Guy.
I mean, I paid $16 for it. So at one point, if you want to listen to, you just hear. I forget the narrator's take on it, but each character he gave a voice to, and it was that's what made it interesting
good.
for me. So that's what I like about listening to the audio is because it helps me retain it more when I hear the different voices. But
I
hers
just don't
was
have
really funny.
I just don't have much respect for voice actors personally. So I think that's where I have trouble with the audio.
That's really funny.
Kidding, obviously.
Jerk.
Obviously.
I would rather in audiobooks listen to a male do a female voice than a female do a male voice.
Really? Why?
Because I think it's just simply the fact of just the narrators I've listened to. The women I've listened to don't do it very well. And some of the men, a lot of the male actors I've listened to, it's just, I don't know, sometimes I think the female narrators try too hard.
So
But
it's harder-
that's just the
well,
ones I've listened to. Like a lot of male voice actors are out there, and I don't search for them, but I just happen to listen to more of them.
When you're the,
So,
the more perfect.
oh my gosh.
I've listened to almost no audiobooks, honestly. I listened to like Tina Fey read Bossy Pants, which was great. Or I also heard Kristen Bell. She voiced the first Veronica Mars novel. I'd already read it, and I listened to her do it. And that's cool because she played Veronica Mars. But other than like somebody narrating their own audiobook or whatever, I haven't listened to, so I don't have that comparison.
It's easier for a voice to go higher than it is for a voice to go lower. Like
And
you can stretch your voice. I mean, not to go on a tangent. Simply put, you can teach your vocal cords and stretch your vocal cords to go higher a lot easier than you can go lower.
Yeah,
It's not
which
like
might
you're gonna
have something
take
to do
vocal
with it.
lessons and become a bass.
Yeah, because some of like the voice lessons and like stuff like that, like for voice actors and stuff, you learn that, but it's just more, I guess, better on the ears for me personally, and that's probably a huge part of it, and that's probably why, and I never really thought about it. Now, there's a difference between voicing as a character as a male or female, or if you're just speaking.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have a voice actor doing this, doing different voices, and you just had someone narrating and talking, and they just go higher for a female and lower for a male, that's different than doing a character.
Monkey God, Lost City of the Monkey Gods. That's how that one was.
Yeah.
As far the because I had to use the audio I had to go to the audiobook for that one.
She agrees.
And that was how that one was, a lot of more monotone. I mean, now granted, most of the characters in that were men. I think we even talked about how like it wasn't until like 50 pages in or so where at least one female was even. But anyway, that's sidetracked.
It's not why I like that book so much.
But
So much sexism.
The narrator made a very
Alaska would not
anxious
approve
fit for this one.
The patriarchal paradigm.
Yeah.
I just feel like I know so many girls like Alaska that I got sucked in for that aspect. I was loving the book. I thought nothing of a death. I know he wrote Fault in Our Stars, which has like the cancer kid, but this to me, I guess because I was identifying with that dynamic, I wasn't thinking death because I didn't experience that.
Yeah.
And so I kept going, what's the countdown? Are they going to get expelled? Is it to a prank? Is it to, like, I had lots of theories, but none of them involved Alaska dying in a car wreck. So I was pretty shocked and I was upset, and that honestly made me not like the end of the book as much because I didn't want her dead.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, I think it was interesting the way they told. I mean, they did 80 pages, like, over a third of the book is after her death.
Yeah.
So it's
Is that how it is in there? Okay.
Yeah,
It makes sense because I think it's like a
the
6
before,
hour and 34
there's an
minute.
after.
yeah.
It's like a 6 hour and 34 minute read, and there was about 2 hours left
And
when
before.
after her death.
Yeah,
So.
there's like 80 pages after her death, and this is 220 pages of text. So yeah, it's considerable.
The one line that stuck with me pretty much throughout the book, when they were smoking, you know, like you smoke for enjoyment, I smoke to die. That's when I knew she was going to die.
Yeah.
I just miss these things.
I was just like, oh, okay, foreshadowing.
You
You're
were
going
probably
to die.
reading. You were probably reading while driving. That's probably what it is.
He's got
Ask
like,
them. Say true or false. You have read books while driving.
Recently,
Answer.
no.
Answer. Oh, yeah. Right.
Recently,
yeah. Ready?
no.
Yeah. He just politicianized over that. He's not going to answer the question.
I
He's
listen
gonna
to
say recently.
podcasts. I listen to podcasts while I drive.
all I'm thinking of is that episode of Family Guy where Lois is asleep and they're on a road trip, and you're seeing from Peter's point of view, and you just see the comic book coming up, and then they crash.
I never read a comic book while driving. That's too typical.
Griffin. Oh my God.
Peter.
That's.
I don't know, Peter.
Life
Meth is a
lessons,
hell
life
of a
lessons.
drug.
No, earlier in my life, I may have had a paperback, but no, not anymore. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't look for foreshadowing. I don't like predicting where things are going. I just tend to go along for the ride, but it did not occur to me at all. It was a big shocker to me.
That was the one thing I was like, yep, no, okay, she's gonna die. It's just a matter of how. I didn't see car crash coming.
As soon as she said she had to go, that was the icing on the
Well,
cake.
yeah, once
But
you
yeah,
said
then
that,
I was like, oh crap.
Well, no, because she had talked about her mom, and they give subtle nuances to like where like if you're like me and numbers are your thing, by the numbers that they give you, it's you can tell that you know that it's January. You know what kind of the day it is, so you're just kind of waiting for. Like for me, there was no because I knew what month it was. I knew what day of the week it was. So to me, it wasn't a surprise. I mean, a surprise. Now again, I didn't know she was going to die. She was going to go into
coma or something, or
like that. But like when they were talking about how how fast they were going, I was kind of upset that they didn't go into more detail because like even if you're wearing your seatbelt, like there are ways that like it just wrote over like, oh, she's dead, and then they went into other like kind of subtle nuances with like figuring out how she died, and then I couldn't
the
figure
steering
out.
wheel pushed you and crushed your chest.
But like if you're like over 100 mile an hour, it doesn't matter. Like there's still gonna be like a lot more, and like the car should have divided. Like that cop, first off, should not been. I mean, he could be alive, but he should have been in critical condition because if he's just sitting in a car,
He
got
wasn't in
out.
the car. He got out.
he got out.
do what?
He got out.
Oh, he got out seconds before.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yep.
Okay.
When he noticed that they weren't.
That's
'cause
right, and it
He
was
turned on
head
the
on.
siren.
That's right,
The
and it
lights
was
were
head on.
on, and he was
Yeah.
like, once he
Okay.
realized that she
Okay.
wasn't stopping.
That's right.
Which
Okay,
was
good.
the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But he was clearly broken up about it, which
Yeah.
Yeah.
I identify with. I mean,
But
even-
no investigation. None of the police
I
asked
think there was
any.
an investigation, but there was
No,
no need
not-
to.
Maybe in your copy.
No,
Like I might have forgotten the fact that the cop got out, but there was no one because like Pudge and the Colonel are talking about how like they're trying to keep everything a secret. Like this is what not like we got her drunk, nothing like that. But like I was trying to think of just how and coming from a small town, I'm thinking, well, if this happened in West Jeff, would there be an investigation? I'm thinking 2005. As much as everybody knows
you mean
everybody's
like-
business, like there was no investigation of her friends, like
Like, where did she get the alcohol type
like
investigation?
the
Oh,
police.
yeah,
'cause
that's true.
she's 16. I mean, you could say she's 20. Who cares? She's still underage. Like it just befuddled me how there was nothing. No cop investigate anyone.
Because the school would have been under
investigate any-
investigation too, because it was on campus.
Yeah.
And
That's a
you've
good
got Pudge and the Colonel walk to the police station, so they are literally at the police station a week or 2 weeks after it, talking to the police officer, and the officer's he's not even asking the questions.
No, yeah, he's being questioned
Yeah,
by
he's
the
being
kids,
questioned.
which I
but
thought
it's-
was weird.
It's not even.
Yeah, I thought he was a
it's
little
not
too
switching.
open
Like
with it.
obviously the officer didn't know that they were coming, but like he didn't start to take over. Like okay, well you're his brother. Okay, if you're acting like her brother, who are you? Oh, you're a friend.
The
okay,
cop would have
well, where
known
were
that
you?
that wasn't her
Yeah, oh,
brother.
yeah,
Like they
yeah,
absolutely would have known.
Well, I think I got the impression the cop didn't believe he was the brother, but he was going to tell him anyway because
Yeah.
he understood.
Yeah.
To me,
Which is fine.
I don't know if this was set modern day, if there was anything that made it seem like it was set modern day. To me, it felt like it occurred maybe like 70s, like before our era, because of the lack of supervision, because of the freedom they had. Like to me, it
Even
just
the
felt like
90s.
a different era.
Even the
It's
90s
because
didn't have a lot of
only
supervision.
So yeah, I don't.
I only knew it was sticking to 2005 because it said back in 1997 she
That her mom
went
died.
to the zoo, which means it's
You're
8
right.
years later.
Yeah.
But other than that, the only mention of year is the weekday warriors had their cell phones on them, and cell phones
okay.
weren't that. I mean, in 2001, I don't
You
even
had all the
remember.
flip phones,
Not even
the razors.
We didn't get a cell phone.
the
till
Motorola
Yeah.
razors.
2002.
So,
I got
The
my first.
Nokias.
That's when I knew it was at least 2000. Yeah. Other than that, I would have
That's
thought
a
it was the
good point.
90s or.
And that the investigation, I think that's why I didn't think it was weird they didn't come asking. Because you're right, now they'd be asking where they got the alcohol. This, but if this was 70s, 60s, 50s, they wouldn't be doing that investigation. It's a small town.
Well,
they
even-
know the campus. They're just going to be like, okay, it's a tragic accident. We're not going to like try to bust. You know what I mean?
And it's a small town, and everyone knows. Oh, and all the adults. So you go to Culver Creek. Yeah, all the adults,
Yeah.
everyone knows where these kids are coming from. So it's
Yeah.
a small area, it's a close-knit area. They're probably very much, we look after our own.
yeah.
So,
But it's just this, like, because they make this big deal about talking about the speed and everything. That's what just threw me off. Like, no, like, this is above just being drunk. Like, and then that's why it got me upset. Like, I can understand why the author leaves it open-ended. One of us could argue it's a suicide. One of us can argue it was, because they're talking about jackknife and trying to.
Yeah.
Because when you're drunk,
She thought she could get
you
through.
think, you think you're impermeable. You think that you are, immortal. So that's what made me mad, was that there wasn't I don't know, but a lot of authors like to do that, so I can respect it.
Well, in real life, would you know? Unless she left a note.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know.
You just have to guess. Do you think she committed suicide?
Do I think she did?
Yeah.
I still have no idea. I can see an argument for both sides. I don't have an opinion myself. Like, I can see how, especially because when you're obviously your emotions. I mean, especially with Alaska, they're not going from 0 to 60. They're going 0 to 200.
Yeah.
So I can see how the flowers are in the back, and I can see how she, like, with her mom, and then the whole Pudge thing. Like, what was I doing? Like, how could I cheat on Jake like that? Like, to be continued. Like, what was I thinking? And I almost think of it as an accident. I would think that she would be talking to herself, obviously. Like, why am I not there? Why am I not there? Why are these great?
How could I forget?
these
Why am
flowers
I a
should be on
terrible
the ground?
person?
Yeah. And I will, like, just because there's never a reference to anybody using a phone other than the cell phone with the Weekday Warriors, and then Miles, like, calling home. But
On the payphone.
yeah, and like Alaska, like, why use a payphone to call your boyfriend or whatever when you can just use your cell phone in your room with your own privacy? So to me, I knew that, like, a phone was to her just a phone. She wasn't. There's no addiction. So, because at first I was thinking maybe she was on her phone saying, Dad, I'm on my way. I'm sorry, and then I don't see, and then the swerve.
Yeah.
That's what I was imagining, more of an accident. But like I said, you can argue she might have just been like, fuck it. Or,
It's okay. Everybody
gosh
gets one.
darn it all. And then
Golly gee willikers.
Yeah.
YouTube's going to take this video down.
No. We don't have enough followers to monetize.
Do you think it was a
anyway.
suicide, or
I mean,
do you think it was an accident?
I think it was a suicide. I don't think it was premeditated. I think the way what's going through her head, her mom being upset about that, and I think maybe in that split second she saw a way to rejoin her mom and also end.
Were you
I
thinking
agree
more
with
of the
that.
labyrinth aspect? Like, because she was talking about, like, how will I
Fast
ever
and
get out?
straight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fast and straight, yeah.
I agree with that. I think that it was a suicide. I think it was a split decision. Not all suicides are the same. Everyone's. I mean, mentally. But you got to think also.
Horizontal for attention, vertical for results.
She's carried this guilt with her for years, blaming herself, knowing her dad blames her, even though he really doesn't. I mean, he's a human
He
too.
didn't even investigate, which made me think, like, he didn't care. But that could be him. Like, just because you can get a girl pregnant does not mean you care about the child. No, I mean, it's
No,
true.
no. I'm thinking of
And
someone that I used to know.
Jimmy, believe it or not, there are people out there that don't want the kids they have.
I understand
Maybe
that.
work in elementary.
I understand
Was
that.
she ever even a teacher?
Yes. I understand that. That's not my complaint.
Well, no, I'm saying, like, that's the only thing that stopped me, because if I were a parent and my kid just died, like, I want to know. There was no, like, hey, I know my daughter had some friends at school. I should probably see what was going on.
I
like,
can see both.
And again, it's
reactions.
not like the police officers didn't say, hey, your daughter blew a .24. Like, I understand, but I would want to know, like, well, that's, well, how much does she have to drink? Like, was she drinking alone? Was she drinking with friends? I should investigate. But the fact that he didn't either makes me think, like, you can love your kids but not like them, and that's what I'm wondering, if that was the relationship they had.
Yeah, he liked her because that's her, or loved her because it's her daughter.
Yeah,
but
that's it. Like, I'm wondering,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I read another book where the mother died in childbirth and the dad was left to raise the kid, and he resented the kid the entire
Yeah.
life. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we know enough about her father to really make any judgments.
We
of
don't.
how he felt
No,
about
Well,
I'm
her.
just saying,
but we
like-
do know that he gave her the closed casket because that's what she wanted.
That's what she wanted.
Like,
don't
That's what
let them see me
That's
dead.
just some of the stuff that I was torn
I
with.
mean-
But I know, like,
But you could see if you're a dad who does really love his daughter, but knows she's been in pain all this time, and there's a certain amount of relief of going, okay, she's not in pain anymore. She's with her mom again.
Yeah.
yeah, but he
I mean,
ca-
it's not the way I would believe, but I could see that perspective.
And he also kind of caused it, because he came home and the first thing he said was, "Why didn't you call 911?"
Well, he was panicked
the
too.
day,
He's only
yeah.
human as well.
No, what I'm saying is, like,
And he
when
said
you're
after that
listening
day,
to-
he didn't blame her. Like, she said it was only that day that she felt the blame for
And
him.
I think the biggest thing that we need to look at is that She never. Well, Miles apparently is hung.
Oh God, don't no.
Another reason I identify with Miles.
I'll never look at.
I think I win the podcast.
Was it Crest? Was it Crest toothpaste? Yeah, I'll never look at Crest toothpaste and say.
Oh my god. Oh, that was really funny. But anyway, one thing we have to remember is that she never sought help. Help was never sought for her.
True.
She's never seen a therapist. She was never.
Another reason I felt like this was from another era. I feel like a lot of this story feels like it's from a few decades ago. Now, maybe down in Alabama, they start just a few decades behind us. I don't know, but...
I mean, there's a lot we can say, but...
Alabama?
We'll just leave
Go
it
ahead
there.
and insult them, it's fine. We don't have any viewers in Alabama.
I was like, a few decades. I mean, yeah, they're going right back.
They don't have the internet yet in Alabama, we're fine.
Gosh.
But I liked, I could only base their high school life off of my college life because obviously, you know, there's no way my parents could have afforded a private school. So, like, I'm trying and then the pranking, I had to realize like apparently that's what kids did back then. Like,
Yeah, I'm
or
not a-
still do. Like, I don't even know do we even have a senior prank? Do you know?
We didn't have a senior prank. There were kids that did a couple pranks in our school, but nothing we were involved in.
Yeah, like
Okay,
our whole
like, I
class
don't
didn't
remember
get
anything
together and
at
do
all.
that.
Like, you know, and then they're talking about, you know, pride, and you don't rat, and I'm like, I missed all of this.
That's more jail time terminology.
Yeah, like I'm just sitting here like, well, no, like if somebody does something really stupid, you say something like you're 16 and 17
Dangerous,
years old. Yeah,
you know.
I don't get it, but I thought some of I would never have thought about milk and vodka, thinking like milk being
That sounds so
Dang
awful.
it.
Yeah.
I was
Orange juice, dude.
dang it.
Orange juice.
I was going to get milk and vodka for you guys and we were going to try it,
But you
but
can
I did
smell
not have
it.
time to go get it.
I would not have tried it.
The book isn't
Unless you put some chocolate in it.
The audio book isn't unabridged. So he was. Did they mention like it was strictly so the colonel, like even if if the eagle could open it and smell it, he still wouldn't be able to smell the vodka. You can smell the vodka with orange juice.
That's true.
But I don't know if the book, because I mean it's only like, you know, he reads a line for like you get a 2-second explanation and then it's.
Yeah.
So I don't know if, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. You know, smoking in the bathroom so that it rides up in the shower. I did relate to Miles where he didn't fit in the shower. That's about it. Definitely not the big wiener part. That's not.
Did you like the
not
Colonel?
Gonna lie. You what?
Did you like the Colonel?
I like the Colonel.
Sam doesn't like the Colonel.
Oh, no, I think the Colonel is fine. I can't take people seriously with stupid nicknames.
Oh.
So when someone comes to me and is like, hey, call me this, and I'm like, no. Like, especially as a teenager, fine, no, and especially if I wasn't there for the creation of that nickname, if I wasn't in on the joke, like, why would I call you that? There's this one person that I know who wants to be called Pumpkins, and that's entirely not this person. Her name's like
I've got
Laura.
a good reason why I want to be called Pumpkins.
And I was
Sam.
like,
It's fine.
I will not call you that. No. Like, I can't, if someone comes to me with something like, no, I can't take him seriously.
But they were the only two that had. The weird thing was that only Miles and Chip.
Pudge and Colonel. Yeah.
Pudge and the Colonel.
The reason. Let me finish my statement, James. The reason why Miles and they were the only two that had nicknames.
Yeah.
No one else
That's true.
in the book did. Well, the Eagle, because his name, I forget they say his name
Yeah.
once at the
Starnes.
Near the end.
Yeah, but that's it. Like nobody else had a nick. Like Alaska is she gave herself her own name. Remember?
Yeah, which was really kind of cool. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, like what they named her Mary, they called her Mary until what, age
She's
7?
7, yeah.
And then she could pick her own name. I was like, that's fun.
That she wanted to, she wanted to be. Well, I wanted to be called Chad, but my dad said that was a boy. Listening to the guy doing her voice, like I can't think of her not sounding like a tranny. Because I mean, the guy does a good job, but that's kind of like what it sounds like. Like there's no way a 16-year-old girl talks like this, but he's doing his best, and it's just so funny. But now I can't not hear it.
Yeah. Every adult in my head as I was reading this sounded like sounded like the guy from Pet Cemetery, the old
Oh,
guy, played by
well, the,
Herman Munster. Like, sometimes Dad
Oh my
is
God!
better.
Is he Herman Munster?
Yes, he is.
Oh.
But I hear it in my head like every
Yeah,
adult
yeah.
sounded like this to me, and I was like, I know that's not an Alabama accent,
not
but
know that he was
the
Herman
way
Munster.
the way it was written,
I'm gonna be stuck on that the rest of the day.
the way it was written, I just heard that in my head for every single. So when the
That's
cop
kind
was
of like what the Eagles sound like.
when the cop was talking,
And I must say,
she must have been. Sometimes
was.
Dad is better, and that's all I heard. Every adult, I was like, wow, okay, oh, fun. Anyway.
I liked so like I could see like the Colonel's mom. I could think of like my mom, or definitely well, how I know Janet. I don't know. You might be like, I don't know what he's talking about, but the way I kind of know Janet, I could see Janet being fun like that. My parents. I
I don't think she helped pull the prank, but yeah.
Really?
No, but she
I
did
like
invite
if I
everybody
asked.
over for dinner for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. But like I couldn't Miles's mom and dad. I can't. I mean, I can relate to them separately. But like my parents got divorced when I was like 7 or 8. So like I don't understand like oh, they're calling because they mean well. My family. Like, my family. I remember at one point saying like my worst problem is like my family loves me too much. And I can think of them individually,
life
but
of a
yeah,
teenager.
but as far as like them being together, not really.
Yeah. I would have been perfectly fine going away to school.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I
I
did
didn't.
too.
I mean,
No.
I didn't really get the homesick thing. Like,
Neither. Nope.
I didn't even want to go away to college. I mean, I did half an hour away, and I was like, I want to live at home, and they wouldn't let me because I was too close.
technically 29.
And I'm so glad I didn't because I loved college and living on campus. But at the time, I was like, my friends are here. I just want to keep hanging out with my high school friends.
We hated Jimmy as well.
They love him. Yeah, no, I had no problem. When I left for the military, one of my bestest buddies in the world was just, she was sobbing and was just hanging on me. And I was very kind of. I'm on a deadline. I'm like, I gotta go, babe. Like, I love you. I miss you.
Like, get the fuck out of here. Crap.
I got a GTFO, so no, I
gotta remember that. I wish I'd remember that.
What?
Acronyms.
Oh
I
yeah,
do-
GTFO, STFU,
that
or
might help.
STFU, GTFO.
It's the food. Did anyone did any of you have a favorite like minor character?
I don't know.
And I don't know. I guess you could. I mean, I don't know if you include Takumi. I guess they would be Takumi and Laura would be supporting characters.
Yeah, I like Laura, but I didn't feel we knew that much about her.
No, you just know she's from Romania.
Yeah.
She was an adult child, kind of, as hard as she had to deal with stuff. She knows what a W-2 is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, she knew how to do taxes and
Yeah.
everything, and she's like,
Do
you know, this
taxes,
is
like-
important, right? And all the other kids are like, oh.
I liked that scene where they talked about their best, their worst day. It was the best insight we got into any of
Yeah.
them in the whole book. Like, that was really good. Helped flesh them out a bit.
Yeah, I thought Laura was so sweet, and then when her and
Oh,
Miles hooked
I
up,
was mad at Miles for ignoring her.
me too.
I was mad. I mean, I
Laura's
get
so
that.
sweet.
I get that he was always after Alaska, and there was a point like when he was making out with her, and she said to be continued. That I'm like, oh, this is the before after. He finally hooks up with her.
See,
Like,
yeah, for a split second, I thought, oh, maybe she's not
And
gonna
then
die.
that
They're
blows
gonna
up.
they're gonna bang, and then we'll
See,
see what happens.
Yeah, and I thought that might blow up his friendship with
Yeah.
Chip and with Laura, and it just makes a mess.
That's-
And I'm like,
yeah.
That's a perfectly reasonable before after. I think that's the book I was expecting, which also would have frustrated me, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, when you think of young adult, that's the kind of way you think of
I don't
things.
read a lot of young adult, but yeah.
Neither do I, but I mean,
Unless
young
it's
adult
like the Hunger Games or something.
young adult does tend to get a bad rap, but there's a lot of bad out there.
There is, but
Yeah.
there is
But
for
there's-
any genre.
Yeah, that's very true for any book in any genre. But I think YA gets an unfair amount of
They're
BS
not all
thrown at it.
Twilight.
Yeah, exactly. It does get an unfair amount of BS, which is why I was kind of happy that it won on the vote. And I was like, okay, cool. So we get to explore some more of this because it's not my preferred reading style.
No, but I had a lot of family members really tuck up Turtles All the Way Down. So thinking, oh, this is the same author that wrote that, I was like, oh, I bet this will be a good book because a lot of people whose opinions I respect, cousins
Yep.
and stuff, were like, Turtles All the Way Down is great, and that was less melodramatic book.
And John Green, I think, is a really good writer, and I
He
think
thanked a lot of people.
Oh, I don't read the
The
acknowledgments.
last,
do I.
the last 5 minutes.
let's see.
The last
Let's look at
5
the
minutes.
acknowledgement.
The last 5 minutes is just is just this list of people.
It's
And I
only
don't know if he's married
it's
or
less
not.
than 2 pages here.
But he's like, I mean, when he's reading that shit out, it's just like, oh my. Or the narrator who's reading that stuff out, it's just like, oh my god.
Oh, here's questions for the author at the
Oh, I
back.
don't have questions. Wait, I don't have the acknowledgments. That's the end of the book. The last words. More words on last words. Do you have some more words
I have
on last
some
words?
last words on some last words on
That's
last
what
words.
I mean. That's what it is.
I have that,
I don't have the acknowledgments.
but yeah, I've got
But
like
I don't
a.
read the acknowledgments anyway.
I've got a nice little like it is looking
Oh.
for Alaska autobiographical.
Acknowledgments are in the front. It's still just 1 page.
But when you're reading that out loud, that's a lot of names.
Yeah, I don't.
When
Yeah,
you're
there
reading
was
a whole
pause.
page.
I mean, it's not a. I mean, wait.
Oh, discussion questions.
Oh, I don't have discussion questions. I hate discussion questions.
Is this the one where like the girl is they're in high school and like the guy has to like he befriends the girl and then like they do a musical together and then
No.
he finds out that's not the Fault in Our Stars? Okay, then I haven't seen
That's like the girl dying of cancer.
it. Well, that's
The
what this-
first chapter's in here if you want to borrow it.
I'm fine.
It was really good.
Book
Okay,
to me
so
feels like more what YA has a reputation for.
but
And I
okay,
didn't want to read
so
it because I saw the movie. And I was
I
like,
read Fault in Our Stars in a day,
Oh my god.
and yeah, I read it in a day, and then I just had streaming tears the whole time, and next to my bed was like just this heaping pile of snot and tear stained tissues. And I'm just like, ugh. And then I went to work and I met this girl who was like, oh my gosh, John. She came in from New York from the company I work for because we were doing this special team thing. And she's like, oh, John Green, oh my gosh, he's one of my best friends. I was like, okay, well, tell him that I have no tears left in my body. And it was a very good book. So. But no, I pretty much cried through the whole thing. And there's like a twist at the end. And,
I
you
can
know,
care
so.
less. It can't be that she
Little boy
dies.
dies,
Is
yeah.
that she lives?
no, she does.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't? I
No.
don't remember.
No,
I'm
see,
wrong.
That's a pretty big.
I'm
she
wrong.
she was going downhill. The guy was in remission.
Yeah.
Then he goes downhill. She lives. So he was supposed to live. She wasn't.
Oh, that was the twist? I
Yes,
don't remember.
so-
You can see.
Oh, he died.
You can see how much I remember
he
of it.
dies, but he's set up to live. She's set up to die, and then they
Gotcha.
switch it.
Well, that's a Fault in the Stars right there.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, and we're back.
A lot of Family Guy references.
I kind of wish we'd done this at the end of the year now because the miniseries is coming out in October. The 8-episode adaptation of this for Hulu.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't see
I
that?
did not see
Oh,
that.
yeah, they're filming it now.
Where are you looking
So
at
if
the
we
book
had done
for?
this at the
I
end of the
don't
year,
know.
Came out in 05 and you're like, oh.
Like the books were. Oh my god! It says it right
Hulu
here to
wasn't
come
even-
on Hulu.
Hulu wasn't even
I'm gonna
around
look
back
up
then.
the actors because there weren't a bunch of well known, but the guy from Silicon Valley is playing the principal. What's his name? Or not Silicon Valley. Veep? Let me look. It was definitely an actor I knew.
Did you guys have any favorite lines while he looks that up?
I don't remember specific lines. Although I loved his obsession with last words.
I do too.
I did like
That was great.
That was so good, and some of them were so good.
Oh, so Sophia Vasileva from like Medium and My Sister's Keeper, she is gonna play Lara.
I have My Sister's Keeper right over there.
How
That
old is
wasn't
she?
a bad movie. Christine Forseth, oh, she's older. Christine Forseth is playing Alaska. She looks like an Alaska to me.
I can see that.
Um,
You'll just have to look these people up yourselves.
Charlie Plummer is playing Miles Halter.
No idea who any of these
He's
people are.
best known for a bunch of stuff I don't know, so I'm not gonna worry about it.
I was watching this MTV thing, and they were gonna do some like Teen Choice Awards, and they're listing all the actors and
Ron
they're listing all the
Cephas Jones
singers.
from This Is Us is playing the old history professor.
Oh.
Or religion professor.
Oh,
But yeah,
the guy does a good job with his voice. He's like, when you understand Buddhism.
Chip is African American, Denny Love.
Yep.
That's not right.
Was that in the book?
Yes, it is.
Was? I didn't get
Chip
that
was
from
black?
the book. I did not get that. Timothy Simons.
Really?
From
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Like,
Timothy Simons from Veep is
At
playing
least
the
that's how I
principal.
imagined him.
I didn't, but that makes sense to me, the look of the guy. Yeah, Timothy Simons is the principal
Okay.
from Veep.
I don't know.
Okay. He's good.
I've always been told I should watch
But
that,
most
I
of the
don't.
kids are not people I'm aware of. So yeah, I was really looking forward to this miniseries. I'm gonna watch it now for sure.
Cool. I'll be excited. We should do like a mini-sode and review
just
the
to see,
series.
Yeah, because the biggest conflict at the end is what was it, and it'd be interesting to see like how they play it off. Do they play it off as an accidental suicide? Do they play it off as just an accident? That'd be interesting. My favorite line. I am concussed.
Yes,
That's
that was
my-
so funny.
That's my favorite
I
That's a
line.
good
could
one.
see
I
that
can't-
in my head. And it's like,
Yeah.
I am
Because
concussed.
the last thing I saw, and he's like, I could relate to that as far as like when like you want to say when somebody's in danger, and I wanted to say you need to look out. This is about to fall on you, but all I could get out was like that sort of thing. So when Miles is like, I'm seeing this cylindrical object come toward my face, and
Yep.
at the point as it's coming, I'm thinking to myself, I
Duck.
should get out of the way. I should duck. I should get down. But by the time I relayed the information from my brain to my body,
It's a split second,
it's a
but
split-
your
yeah.
brain is
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, I have all the time in the
then
world to
Takumi's
move out
like,
of this.
Takumi's like, you gotta get up. It's like, I cannot. I am concussed. And
so
I would
funny.
say that's my favorite line, unless I'm missing something minute. I guess Laura at the end saying, shut up and
Take your clothes
shut
off,
up and
you're
take off
hot.
all of your clothes.
No, I
The,
didn't.
the
Take your clothes
blowjob
off.
scene was hilarious.
Do you want a blowjob?
Hilarious.
A blowjob? Like, what do we do? I don't know.
I mean, I
There-
wasn't doing
Like,
that sort of thing
but-
at 14. If I was, it probably would have gone that
and
way.
Then he's like, all the pornos I'm just like, how many pornos? But anyways, like all the pornos I've watched, I guess I never really thought about.
The
And all I could
10
think
minutes of
yeah.
one he watched with
But
Alaska.
It wasn't like Pudge saying, let's go ask Alaska, and Laura's like, no, we'll figure this out on our own. They're both kind of at the same time, like
Yeah.
we used to go like they
Which
both.
is super adorable.
Yeah.
It is. It really is.
It was
Thank
so-
God they have an Alaska in their life to go to.
Yeah.
Or had
Like-
Well,
in
but-
Alaska.
and
Yeah, she's dead.
Yeah, now she's nothing. They
Now
can't
she's
go to her anymore.
dead.
Well, that's what I like about John Green's writing is I think he really, pardon the pun, nails teenagers just right
Yeah, he does.
as the way he writes them.
Penis, vagina. You ever remember that? If you've never seen
yes.
Member Varsity, I never noticed the whole she just penis, vagina, but never noticed that until somebody pointed it out, and then I had to watch that stupid movie over again.
Well,
But-
What movie was it again?
Varsity Blues.
Oh, I haven't seen
2000,
that since it first
2001.
came out.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But
the stupidity of teenagers too. I mean, the
Yeah.
duct tape
Yeah.
thing. That's a horrible
Yeah.
prank. That
All I
could've
could think
killed
of
him.
was-
He could have died.
But teenagers,
Yeah.
they're like, whatever.
Because all I could think of was the time it takes. If you put tape on you and then go underwater, it doesn't just come off. I'm still trying to figure out. Like I know they explain.
Nathan's like, I've done this to people. It's
no,
fine.
well, like
He did it to me.
Why would that not surprise me if it was true?
because
No.
he's like the reading led it to believe that he was struggling, and as you struggle, you go deeper. You don't float. The ideal is you try to get yourself into a ball because in a ball you start to rise. But nowhere in the at least in the auditory version was he doing any of that. So all I can think of is he's going lower and lower, and all I can think of was this must be a very shallow lake, and it just must be inferred because he should
Well, they
not
threw him
have
right off the dock.
Well,
Yeah.
and they had him
And
taped
the
flat.
height of a dock-
And you'd float flat. It's just a matter of,
Well,
I was
no,
worried
you
he'd
just have
roll
to-
over.
Yeah.
And like his face would be towards the
But
light.
like
Yeah.
for it to get loose, it seemed like it would take a long time. And when you are moving, you actually can't hold your breath as long. And his mouth is duct taped, so I'm trying to think of the lung capacity this kid must have. Then I'm like, this is a book, and I should just be happy that he's alive, and that's what I did. But yeah, but it just that was a horrible. All that sat there was like, oh crap, like this beats anything that I've ever done or had happen to me. Like, what's gonna pop? Like, what's next? Like, shoot him in the head and be like, but it was about this type of bullet. Like, it wasn't like.
It was an airsoft. It's fine.
Well, I mean, that's all I could think of was like, what can top almost drowning a kid the first day of school?
Well, I did put that ice outside your house so you'd slip and break your leg, remember?
That's true.
He accused me. He was convinced. I don't think he was convinced, but he told a bunch of people that I put the ice outside his house. They slipped on.
Didn't know this was a thing. I'm learning
I broke
so
his
much.
leg apparently,
This is
so I could steal his part in the musical.
This is WJ problems.
Anyway.
But I thought the prank was ingenious. The hair thing I've read or seen at least 5 times before this.
Honestly, the worst prank in the book, though, was the water on the books. How dare they ruin those
Yes.
books?
Oh my gosh. That was my first thought. I was like,
That broke my heart.
I would have.
I mean, it's one thing if you kill a kid. It's another thing if you destroy books.
I mean,
But-
come on.
Like
Oh, sorry.
it talked about her, like she had books on shelves, right?
Yes.
No.
On the floor everywhere.
They
She
were
had books
piled.
everywhere.
Okay, because I remember like the only real reference that I remember is like talking about shelves, and I was imagining like a bookshelf like that. I wasn't thinking like one toward the ground. So in my mind,
The
I'm
one
thinking,
you can all not see off stage.
Well, yeah. Like
I have a
your
built-in
average,
bookshelf
your
over there.
average bookshelf that starts like 2 to 3 feet off the floor and goes to whatever the height of the ceiling is. So to me, I was thinking, they must have flooded the room a lot. But then I have to remember, she's a teenage girl. I don't know how clean she is because they don't really reference how like dirty everyone is, obviously. But I was thinking like, well, why did she talk about like her bed being flooded and like stuff under her bed and clothes being ruined? But then
Because those don't matter
they
as
don't
much
matter.
as books.
Thank you, James.
You're welcome. Nathaniel.
My real name isn't Nathaniel.
I know.
That's the thing. Trying to get you STFU. I did it.
You used it right too.
I am young.
I relate to the youth of the world
I
now.
relate to the yes. But the whatever the book was that she had either reread or remembered a passage and then wrote over top, I thought was I thought, we have the hard and fast or fast and speedy. And I know I mess it up. It's fine. But anyway, and that
Are we talking about the porn again?
Miles found it.
Apparently.
And that Miles knew like because he wanted that book and found it and everything. So
Now, Miles is going to be really messed up for life, probably, and the Colonel, and Takumi, because they all are going to feel responsible for her death, just like she felt responsible for her mother's death. Like, I'd be curious to check in on them 10 years later and see where they are, because I don't...
Which, technically, they'd be, because when the book ended, they would be about 29, 30 years old. If it were 10 years later, they'd be about our age. So that's the interesting part, is, like, I can kind of, like, relate to it in a little bit of that aspect, and that's what I was wondering, especially with not even so much the Colonel, but more more Takumi than anyone else, simply because what he held in, and they left him out so much, like, because obviously Miles voiced his opinion more, and people that express themselves more are less likely to have like those episodes where they just blow up later. But Takumi was holding everything in, and didn't even in the book it was a note. He didn't say anything to anyone. He wrote it down. Like, I mean, how many times have we taken a piece of paper and we're like, this is like it looks like a grocery list, and you don't even look at it. So like he could have confessed, and then the Colonel knew even less, because Miles put it on the top bunk, and Colonel at 5 feet, he don't have a reason to be up there as he's packing. I'm not going up. Well, I see up there, but like he's not, unless he's thinking about, I should check the top of my bed for a note. Like, why would he?
I think out of all of them, the Colonel Chip has the healthiest viewpoint.
I agree.
He's definitely the healthiest and sees it for what it is, even though he was really driven to figure out why.
Yeah, and I think that was how he coped, because he was the worst.
Yeah.
Well, from what you read or heard, he was the worst, because he was, like Miles leaves, throws up, is in denial. Chip recognizes it right away, and he's just like, that I'm sorry, that sort of thing. He just went straight to the guilt, whereas Miles, did the more like
internal shutdown a bit.
No, she's not. Like,
can't be dead. It's got to be a prank.
Yeah, you didn't get that from your Colonel. Could have been thinking it, but you're not. You didn't get that from him. So
I think he was the healthiest perspective. But producers telling me that, I feel like we could talk another hour about this book, and it was for a 221-page book.
We can talk for 221 minutes.
It's. But
sorry.
It's
3 hours.
a joke.
We can talk for 3 hours and 41 minutes.
Really funny.
I'm Jimmy.
But I feel that we could continue unpacking this for a long time.
Yeah.
My book darts are packed in a box, so I had to dog
that
ear.
hurts my heart to
Dog
see
ear
that.
my
I'm
pages.
sorry.
I'm fine with
What,
it.
dog ears?
Yep.
That's how you should read any book.
That
See,
hurts
look how
my-
beat up my book is. I feel I am fine with beat up books because it means they are well loved.
Yeah, like why would you?
That hurts my heart. It really does. You see mine? It looks like it still just came right off the shelf.
Let me see it.
No. In fact, there's a little bit of crease on the outer jacket, and that hurts me.
He's
I
one of
really
those
hurt
kids
this.
that like bought the action figure,
There,
but didn't do anything with the action figure.
never opened them
I
up
played with
Right.
the action
He has
figures.
these-
in the box.
He
while
has
it's-
these furry. He has these furry balls that like I'm sure
Tribbles?
just sat on his
They're
chest.
tribbles.
Tribble.
They're a lot of trouble.
They're not
I-
furry testicles. They're tribbles.
I didn't say they were testicles. I said they were
The
balls.
trouble of testicles.
Which is the correct term. They were it was a
Tribsticles?
ball of fur, not a testicle of fur.
Tribbles don't have
Get your
testicles.
head
So
out of the gutter.
enough talk of testicles.
That's how we end.
Well,
They
no,
said
we've got
vagina
something
once
else to
before.
do.
We got something
Watch
else
out.
to do.
Twice.
We gotta announce our next book.
Oh, yay! If you look on our website, they already know it.
So here's the challenge.
Shut up.
Take a picture of Jimmy's book now, because he's not allowed to bend it or do anything, because it's got to
will
be
still look
in
perfect.
pristine
Should I
condition.
give him the one that's a little bent then? You see up in that corner?
I'll do it. Do it. In fact, hold on.
Nathan's just gonna listen to the audio anyway.
Not when she gives you a book, you dick. Have some GD Couth. Trump raised you.
Janet.
These two. So, the next
He
book.
meant to say thank you is what he meant to say. Thank you. Here, you didn't. Hold on. So you
Oh,
don't
that's
forget.
right. Yeah. Thank you. Oh my gosh, this is. Look at the. Came in
If
shipping
if
like
if
that.
It really
Come on.
bothers him, I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll let you two
We'll
deal
fight
with that
over
on
it.
your
We'll fight
own.
over it.
Yes. Throw them in the middle. Fight. Two readers enter. One reader
Oh,
leaves.
the duck! Before we go, I was mad that they didn't elaborate more on the duck.
The
swan.
Swan.
That bit him in the butt.
Like,
Stop
all you
looking
got
at me,
was-
Swan.
You just had, yeah. You just had this angry swan. You're like, well, what's the backstory? Like, is
Yeah,
it
there
like
was no
e-
backstory. They're
is it
just like,
the
the
eagle's
swan is
pet?
coming
Yeah.
at me.
Is it like this?
The
Is it like the eagle's like
It's his attack
CNI
swan.
dog type
instead,
thing?
Instead of dogs, he has swans.
It's just like, well, how cool is that? Because I mean, they are by a big. Anyway, that was the only thing I remember being like, why didn't they talk about that more?
I love the fact that we could keep talking about this. Like, that's so great to me, and that's just a sign of a good book. I liked this book. I recommend it. I think it was great.
Yes,
I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads.
I gave it 4.1.
Okay, good. Very
So,
good.
the next book
Yes.
is called Shh. That's what it's called.
It's called
Yes.
It's called SDFU.
You Will Know Me by Megan Abbott. Again, I will let you guys fight
Thanks.
over. He's like, ugh.
I'll lick
It's-
this real quick.
I feel like he'll take that over a bent corner. They make these things called book sleeves, and they're like just this fabric that's you put your book in so you can put it in your purse or carry it with you so it doesn't get ruined.
You know what I do with when there's dust
Yeah,
covers?
yeah.
I take the dust cover off and leave it on the shelf so it doesn't get messed up. And
Yeah,
then put
I
it back
take
on
off
when
my
I'm
dust
done.
covers too.
Ooh,
Yeah.
something's going. There's something sports related in this.
Yes, it's gymnastics, Olympic level.
Oh.
Oh man, bitches. No offense, but y'all know who you are. It's probably because you lost your boobs, but like, oh my god. What? How's that bad?
Our producer is dying behind the camera right now. He is
Olympic
bright
level?
red
I
laughing.
lost your boobs.
Yeah. I'm not wrong.
It was just
As if you exercise too much, that's where it
The
starts
fat,
to
I
go.
their
know.
development, their
Yeah.
physical development,
You
and
can-
these
you can
things
add
like this.
whatever perky word, no pun intended. Oh, perky! That was my other one. Because
It was factual. It wasn't
yeah,
judgment.
yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
judgment.
Anyway,
don't objectify women, Chad.
there's the patriarchal paradigm. It's about a book and gymnasts. It's about a book. Oh my gosh, it's a book about about gymnasts. And there's a murder in a small town, and
Another death.
another one. Again, high gloss, high stakes. So
Christ,
Are there vampires in it?
Is
There's
it
gotta be
definitely
vampires.
no
in it.
vampires in it that
That's
I
a
know
YA
of.
novel. There should be vampires in it.
Well, I think something that a lot of
You
people
let her
forget
No.
is
You are
that
very rude.
I don't read these books ahead of time. I read them with you. So I don't
I
know.
haven't read a book in my life.
Never. So I don't know. Like, so I can't trigger warning books ahead of time. That's going to be up to you and you to decide on your own. So, yeah. Just a warning. I don't trigger warning anything for people because I think people can make their own decisions.
I don't TW.
So, anyway.
No T-dub from this count.
So, okay, let's wrap this up. So,
I thought we did.
oh my God.
Go ahead.
How many times have you been here?
Not enough.
Here,
Are you
once.
reading anything else right now? Any other
Yes.
books that you want to recommend?
Oh, well, I'm a third of the way through Outlander, and I really want to reread the Game of Thrones series.
Me too.
But yeah, I mean, I read constantly, so.
You're much faster reader than I am. Do you speed read? Do you skip anything?
No.
Or are you just naturally a fast reader?
Naturally a fast reader.
Lucky. Actually, I don't mind. It just takes me a little longer.
My wife is such a slow reader. Like, a book like this that we just read, Looking for Alaska, it would take her 8 months to read.
Does she stop and start?
Just, well, yeah, she does. Well, she's slow anyway, just very slow to read, and then she doesn't have a lot of time. So it's, yeah.
Cool. Anything else you've
She
read that you
reads
would
in,
recommend?
Short blocks.
Well, she's like this big.
She reads a little at a time.
She's
not very big.
She's almost as big as the teddy bear.
She's not very big on
Bigger than that teddy bear. By
She's
any
super
stretch.
Leave her
tiny.
alone.
She's 4'10".
Don't.
She's awesome. I like her.
She really reached 4'10"?
Yes, she's
Good for
4'10".
her. 4'9". All right. No, I'm not currently reading anything I really wish I was, except for my script. And that's
Your script for It's All Been Done Radio Hour, that show you're in?
no
As a
plug
voice
in that
actor?
piece of crap.
Is he writing something finally?
Who? Nathan?
Nathan.
No.
Oh,
Right here. You don't have to this guy.
I know. I'm just.
No, I need to, because if I bring up a topic, I probably should follow up with it. No, The Wedding Singer.
He's in The
musical.
Wedding Singer.
Oh, fun.
That's about it.
Give him the dates.
that's not about-
So they can come see you
That has
in
nothing
London.
to do with this. Am
That's
I allowed
fine.
to?
Yeah.
All right, London, Ohio, London High School, July 26th to 28th.
Nathan's still in high school, if you didn't know.
We're putting on the musical The Wedding Singer. It's from Madison County Arts Council. There's a page on Facebook where you can look it up. I am playing Boy George, and if you know who that character is, and you know anything about me, you will definitely want to come and
We need to go see it.
Yeah, that'll be
It's
fun.
not roundtable eligible.
That's
but we need
okay.
to go see
That's
it.
okay.
I want to see trans Nathan.
Yes. That'd be awesome.
I even
Anyway.
want to see Trans Nathan.
I think he'll be hot as a trans woman.
I will be.
Man.
It's gonna be a sexy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Anyway,
All right.
what do you have to plug?
I mean,
What?
the network probably represents.
This is the owner
Right.
of
It
our
never
network.
gets old. It never gets old. Whenever you say, I don't know if I've ever said it, whenever you say plug, I say butt. Because I'm not.
And our flagship program, It's All Been Done Radio Hour, which I write, certainly plug that.
It's not
And
here. It's not
Quarterly
here.
Book Club,
It's
it's
not here.
on
It's
this
not here.
network. We appreciate it. Stark Story Sex is on this network.
Yes.
And Sam just won our writing contest. It's All Been Written, which is done with blind judging. So nobody knew it was her story. The panel of judges did not know it was her story when they chose her. So she won fair and square and a very unbiased, which
I don't know
shows
if
you
women
how
can
good
really
she
win
writes.
anything. They should probably. Okay.
I have both of our previous books over there too.
Oh my God.
You see the
Which
one
one?
down there, and then up at
The
the
It's All
right.
Been Written published collections.
Yes.
What's that?
Oh my gosh.
We'll show them after
Producer,
the
can
camera goes off.
you? Yeah.
Can you produce?
All
Unless you
right,
wanna-
we've
Okay.
gone way over time,
Yeah.
and I know you guys need to go.
We do.
So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And this has been Sam with the Quarterly Book Club. Why
Yay!
quarterly? Because you're busy and books are long. Bye. Well, that was quite a conversation. I feel we could have easily gone another hour or even more talking about this book. There was so much to unpack, and I feel like we didn't even get as deep into it as we could have. But unfortunately, there are time constraints that we are abiding by. But all of us enjoyed this book. We all really recommend it. I hope you enjoyed it as well. If you have read it, if you have not, pick it up. Tell me what you think. There's going to be, there's comments at the bottom. Let me know. You can also hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. All of those are at IABD Presents. So tell us what you thought of it. And, for his premiere book, I don't know, it was really good. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't go into it really expecting anything. So I was pleasantly surprised with it. I really liked it. And our next book, You Will Know Me by Megan Abbott. Very excited to start that one. And we'll get into it next quarter. If you're looking for other things to read look at, listen to, please go to iabdpresents.com, IABD as in it's all been done, presents.com, and check out our podcasts. Like Jimmy was saying, he's the primary writer for Radio Hour. And please, please, please support Radio Hour. All three of us are on it. All three of us have, Nathan does the music for it. I've written for it. I perform in it. So does Nathan, and Jimmy does all the writing, and we're all highly involved. So our 4th anniversary show is coming up July 13th. Please get tickets at madlab.net/tickets or at the door at Mad Lab Theater in Columbus. We would love to see you there, and we will talk to you next time. Thank you.